Hello everyone, I'm Artist Charles Wolf. Welcome to Impulsive Artistry. This is Art Thoughts with Artist Charles Wolf, myself, and I'm so excited to be here with you all for this fun episode of this new series that I'm going to be putting out for a while. I don't know how long I'll be doing this show, so thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited that you could be part of this. So the topic at hand was one that was suggested to me by a really awesome subscriber by the name of RSJ-Texas. Hey RSJ, hope you're having a great day, my friend. Thank you so much for your suggestion. I greatly appreciate it, and it was an awesome one, and I thought it was a perfect topic for today's Art Thoughts. So the topic is, how do you go about taking a photograph and then modify it for a painting? And particularly, how do I abstract a photograph into an art piece, a painting particularly. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through my process of how I approach looking at photographs, how I break them down into smaller sections, and how I generally approach abstracting them, and what are my thoughts on a good way of doing that. So I'm going to be giving you a unique look into my personal process. Now I want to add the caveat that each painter, each artist has their own ways of doing things. And just because I do it this way doesn't mean that's the best way or necessarily the most efficient way. And if you have a different way of doing this or approaching this problem or this idea of how do I abstract something, that's awesome. I'm really happy for you. Keep doing that. This in no way negates that process or that approach. This is just how I do it right now. This is just my approach, and I may change it later on in the future, but for right now, this is my thoughts on the matter. So, sit back, relax, and welcome to Art Thoughts. Okay, I'm going to jump over now to my computer, and I'm going to show you digitally on a photograph how I break it down, and then after that I will come back here and talk a little bit more at the end. Okay, head over to the computer.
Alright, thanks me. Here I have a photograph of a sunset that I took a few years back. Today I'll be using the program Krita. It's a free open source program that you can download yourself. I'll put a link in the description below. Not a sponsor of this video per se, but it's just a cool art tool for you to try out digital art. A great way for you to practice on photographs, to abstract them yourself, and then once you have a clear idea of what you might want to do, you can transfer that over to the canvas. I've taken a black pen here to outline, and I'm just going to mark out what I think are the important gestural lines and structural lines to this composition. Obviously, we have the power lines coming across here. I've divided the blue part of the sky to where it brightens for that one cloud. I'm just marking out the basic structural elements. Now, the way I'm doing this on the photograph is exactly what I would do on my canvas in preparation for abstracting a photograph. So all of these lines that I'm drawing in right on the photo, I would actually be drawing in on my canvas. I first want to focus on areas of high contrast. I chose this photo for a reason, because it has a lot of high contrast in it, especially in the sky. Lighter sections against the darker slate blues and the darker hues. And I am picking out the areas where I see the greatest amount of contrast for these lines. Obviously, the blue portion at the top contrasts with the gold-yellow shimmer of the clouds, and then I have a few spots down below where more of the blue is poking through. It's typical that the clouds right above you are going to be much bigger, and then they're going to become more broken up farther from you, and you'll see more patches of the blue emerging as we get closer down towards the horizon line. This horizon line is very low on this picture. You could also raise this up, the horizon line, and include more of the foreground, but this picture is really not about that. Here I'm using the airbrush tool, and I've just selected a few of the key colors from the picture, and I am just simply brushing over and smoothing out the sections and the layers of contrast. This is a very easy way to abstract something. All you have to do really is to pick the main color and put that down as a background base. And then you could pull out some details over it and get a nice impressionistic looking painting. If you want to go full abstract, then you would leave it more unified, for sure. This is just a way of starting to abstract a photo. You pick the main colors that you see, simplify everything to just those main colors. Now this is the most direct method of doing this. Of course, you could be a little more subtle and blend things better together, but I'm just doing it fast and loose right now for you all, so you get a clear idea of how you would go about doing something like this. Okay, and here I'm just unifying the background and then pulling out some of the largest structural shapes. Instead of keeping everything super detailed, I'm just going to put in a big blob here to represent power line tower. Now this is the most simple way to abstract something, simplify the shapes into basic areas, and form sort of a loose impression of the image. This is what I most frequently do when I am painting. And this approach, of course, works whether you're doing an impressionist style or if you are doing a full-on just abstract based on an image. If I was going to make this more of an abstract, more of a non-descriptive piece, and not have it be a sunset anymore, but to change it entirely, what I could do is pull the colors from the photo, simplify them like I've done here, maybe keep a few of these structural elements to start, but then let my imagination kind of go wild and try other things and change a great amount of the piece, maybe have more areas of the black, more like swashes here and there, and just start to loosely modify this particular painting. The basic principle here of blocking out your painting, figuring out what is important, what's structural, what can we get rid of, simplifying things, that is my basic approach to using a photograph to paint, really. And then you can do whatever you want. You could even keep some of the structural elements for an abstract, could change all the colors. Like I said, you could change the structures, you could get rid of elements, add elements in. One thing you could very easily do here, I'm just showing this, is you could simplify it to just the most basic colors and stripes, kind of still suggesting the sunrise, but really abstracting it, and that's kind of a fun thing. The other thing you can do is you can kind of let the general shape suggest a different scene, and I'll show you how that looks in just a second. So there's an abstract based on the photograph that could be finished and complete right there, just basic colors. Put back in these power lines, but I'm going to change the power lines into, say, maybe a tree or figures kind of standing, looking into the distance. And now we have a very different piece based on a photograph that's abstracted for sure, and it's something completely different. Alright everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a great time showing you a behind the scenes look at how I approach taking a photograph and abstracting it. I hope that you enjoyed this process and found it to be very helpful. You can of course do many other things with this process. Keep the composition like I did today. So you could change the color slightly, keep the colors, but change the whole composition, change where all the structural lines are, make adjustments as you feel like it. I've done things like paint a painting based on a photograph and then paint something else over top of it from a different photograph and combine different elements from competing photographs. There's lots of different things that you can do and lots of different ways you can get your creativity jump started. So just jump right in. There's no right or wrong answers here. Just have some fun with the paint and you never know what you could come up with and create. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you wouldn't mind and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much to each and every one of you, and I appreciate you all. Thanks again to RSJ for the awesome topic idea, and I'll see you again soon with another painting lesson and perhaps another art thoughts. Have a great day. Thanks.